My name is Margaret, and for 33 years, my world revolved around one person, my son Daniel. When my husband passed away in a car accident, Daniel was only 7. I remember holding his tiny hand at the funeral, promising him through my tears, "You'll never lack anything as long as I live." I kept that promise. I worked double shifts as a nurse, barely slept, skipped meals. Also, Daniel could have everything a fatherless boy deserved. I sold my wedding ring to pay his first semester of college. I borrowed money just to buy him a laptop when he said he needed one. And when he finally graduated and landed a good job, I cried harder than I did on my wedding day. For years, I lived alone in our old house. Daniel would call sometimes, visit once in a while, and each time he'd leave, I'd sit on the couch, holding on to the warmth of his hugs like they were all I had left. But things changed after he got married. His wife, Clara, was polite, but distant. I always felt like I was intruding, even when I was invited. They moved into a beautiful new house, one I helped him pay for when he struggled with the down payment. Still, I never complained. I was just happy seeing him happy. Until one day I got sick. It started with fatigue. Then the doctor said it was early-stage arthritis. He told me to rest, not overwork myself. So, when my landlord decided to sell the house I was renting, I thought, maybe I could stay with Daniel for a while, just until I found another place. I remember calling him. My voice was trembling. "Daniel, honey, I might need a place to stay for a few weeks." There was a pause. Then he sighed. "Mom, things are a bit tight here. Clara's parents visit often, and the baby's coming soon. Maybe you can stay with Aunt Rose for a while." I hung up the phone and just sat there, silent. For 30 years, I gave him everything. And suddenly, I was a burden. A few days later, he called back, not to apologize, but to ask if I could help with the closing costs for their second car. That night, I cried like a child, not because he needed money, but because of how easily he could ask for it after turning me away. Still, I helped him. I told myself, he's my son, he'll understand one day. But the moment that broke me came a month later. I had been admitted to the hospital for severe joint pain. I didn't tell him at first. I didn't want to worry him. But when the nurse insisted someone sign off on a few documents, I called Daniel. He came. Late. With Clara. She stood in the corner, scrolling through her phone. He looked annoyed, impatient. And when the nurse mentioned that I might need some assistance after discharge, Daniel said, almost under his breath, but loud enough for me to hear, "Mom always finds a way to make things about her. She just doesn't want to be alone. She's becoming a burden." I froze. That word, burden. It echoed inside me, ripping through every memory of sacrifice I'd ever made. I didn't say anything that day. I just smiled through the pain, signed the papers, and quietly decided it was time to stop begging for love that should have been freely given. 2 weeks later, Daniel called panicking. His mortgage payment had bounced. The automatic transfer from the joint account, the one I'd been funding all these years to help him manage, was empty. I had closed it. Then came the messages. The calls. 55 missed calls in one night. He finally showed up at my door the next morning. "Mom, what happened? I can't make my payments. Why would you do this?" I looked at him, really looked. The same boy I once carried on my back now stood before me, desperate but arrogant. I said softly, "You once called me a burden, Daniel. But burdens don't pay mortgages. Burdens don't build lives for others. Burdens just weigh people down. I was your foundation, not your burden. You just forgot the difference." He went silent. Clara didn't say a word. I walked back inside, closed the door, and cried for the woman I used to be, the mother who believed love alone was enough. Now I live in a small apartment by the sea. The rent's modest and the air is peaceful. Daniel still calls sometimes, apologizing, begging to visit. I forgive him, but I no longer carry his weight. Some love, I've learned, has to be released to heal. Moral lessons. A mother's sacrifices are not debts to be repaid. They are bonds to be respected. When love is taken for granted, silence becomes the loudest revenge. Strength isn't always about holding on. Sometimes it's about letting go. Those who call their parents a burden forget that they once lived on their shoulders. Forgiveness brings peace, but distance protects dignity. If this story touched you, please support us by leaving a like, sharing, and subscribing to our channel for more emotional revenge stories like this. Thanks for watching.